he was in the open. We're waiting to shoot him, waiting for the other birds, and then they started clucking. I'm like, now or never, and he's like, shoot him, shoot him, shoot him, and he put his gun down. So I'm like,
This episode is brought to you by Baronet Blinds.
Messed around with the notion a little bit about, hey, I want to do something to be able to give back to our partners that have been so good to us over the years. I've got a buddy in Central Kentucky that's got some farms. He's got a outfitting business. I reached out to him looking for a place to do some turkey hunts if he didn't have anything already booked. So I kind of got that plan lined out, and so I got with Steve and I said, hey, we got some places. Let's ask some of our partners if they'd like to come and enjoy a weekend with us, something for us to give back to them.
Here we go. Turkey Camp 2024 is in full swing. We are traveling to Central Kentucky. We are going to be staying at Casey's place at Whiskey River Whitetails. We're headed to the Louisville airport. We're going to be picking up Braden Staples from Dark Energy. He is flying in from Utah, going to enjoy Turkey Camp with us. This will be Braden's very first chance at hopefully getting him his very first bird ever. So we also have Gabe and Jeremy coming in from Baronet Blinds and River's Edge Tree Stands. Going to be joining Turkey Camp with us as well.
Gabe's there. He ends up bringing one of the engineers from RSM, Jeremy. Steven and Christy, my wife's there. Brandon comes down to help us do some video work.
We're going to finish getting on into the airport. We're going to get Braden, get him picked up, then we're going to head straight to the lodge and get settled in and get a game plan and see what we can get done here over the next 4 or 5 days. Get your stuff in here.
Hey!
So everybody gets into camp. We do have a guy in camp with Braden that's never killed a turkey, so I'm really wanting to get him on a turkey. And the weekend is set up. It's opening weekend of the Kentucky turkey season, so we are pretty fired up trying to get these guys on some turkeys. But also, for me, it's time to spend with those guys outside of the business part of what we do to continue to build what we consider lifelong partnerships and friendships. We wanted to give back to those guys and just show them that we want to build this relationship into the future. As we said at dinner the night before opening day, everybody's sitting around with just the anticipation. You could feel it in the room as we was eating dinner that night. Everybody was so positive. Everybody was so fired up. Everybody knows the next morning what farms we're going to, this and that. And as opening morning come and we got up and we got ready, nobody slept in, nobody was dragging behind. As soon as the alarms went off, feet hit the ground and we went off and we was ready to rock. If you know anything about turkey hunting, it's not necessarily a given. Just because you hear one gobble off the roost doesn't mean he's gonna fly down right in your lap and you're gonna be able to shoot him. So we split up into teams, and I ended up taking Braden that morning, and I was with him filming him. We was in a ground blind.
Good morning. It's April the 18th. We're in a ground blind here in Central Kentucky. We have Braden Staples with us from Dark Energy. Steven and Gabe and Jeremy are about 500-600 yards away on the opposite end of the farm. Absolutely beautiful morning. We can hear the birds gobbling, so we're just in here more or less on a recon mission, but beautiful morning, clear skies, a little bit of a fog this morning, wind's kind of calm. We're going to see if we can get Braden on his very first turkey, so.
It was slow, but we was able to have some turkeys work. We had a bunch of jakes start to really come to the decoys. I said, hey, if you want to shoot one, you can. If not, let's see if we can't draw in a longbeard for you for your first turkey. So he agreed to that, and the jakes absolutely come into the decoys and just played around and just, they was 10, 12 yards from the blind, all up in the decoys.
We had these 3 jakes just come in and just absolutely just feed all the way around us. Come in and mess with the decoys and just freaking stood here forever. This is insane. This is normal.
So at any given time, he could have took a jake, but we had turkeys working, but they ended up being jakes. But it was so exciting to see his reaction to those turkeys. And I talked to him about it. I was like, you can shoot a jake here in Kentucky, but I really would like for you to get your first longbeard here in the state of Kentucky. And but you're more welcome to shoot a jake, but I really think we can get you on a tom. And as the morning progressed, it's just, you know, that day it just didn't happen. We was in several groups. We was able to break up into teams, so to speak. I ended up going with Braden. Steven and Brandon ended up going with Jeremy and Gabe with those guys because they's a little bit more versatile, a little bit more run and gun style. I opted to do a kind of a ground blind where we knew the turkeys was roosted close by, so that's the approach and that's the game plan that we had on opening day. This segment is powered by Dark Energy.
You want to dip to the corner? Do you want to, like, leave the field jails and dip to the corner? Back and there's a Tom sitting in her decoys. Oh. I don't know. I mean, they're not really gobbling anymore, but I'm like, we had those 2 birds behind us, you know, across that fence. At one point, I thought I heard one at the bottom of the valley. That turkey you just saw could have been one of them.
As Steven and Brandon and Gabe and the other guys, as we're communicating, they're just having a really tough time. They can hear the turkeys gobbling, but they can't get anything to commit and come into any of the decoys or any of the calls.
Alright, well, we just didn't have a lot of luck in our spot up there with the decoys, and so we decided to see if we could locate. And we come into the timber here and been calling. Finally, we've got one located, and he's responded back to us 4 times. Seems like he's getting closer, so hopefully we can get him in here. It's a beautiful day here in Kentucky. I've got Gabe and Jeremy with Baronet blinds and River's End tree stands with me. Hopefully we can get one of them on a bird.
All right, well, morning number 1, turkeys win. We definitely felt like we had a chance there a couple of times, but they just weren't really interested in what we were doing. So we will regroup and come at them this evening, see if we can get her done.
I know Steven and Gabe and Jeremy ain't had much luck, so we're getting ready to get out, gather our stuff up, get back to the lodge, get a game plan, and we'll see what happens. Morning number 1 is in the books.
You know, as the day progressed, we hunted that afternoon, and the birds, we could hear the birds, but it seemed like they was just on the other side of the property line, and it just could not get them to commit.
All right, we are the afternoon of day 1 here in Kentucky. Got Braden with me this afternoon. The other guys are going over to a different spot, and they're going to try to roost some birds over there. We're actually going to come over here on this other property and try to hunt. And then if we don't have any luck hunting, hopefully we can help, or we can roost some birds as well. So Braden, he has never shot a turkey before, so our number 1 goal is get him on a tom and get it on the ground.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
All right, let's go.
finally got settled after Stephen hiked us around all over looking for the perfect spot. So we found a tree that we think they may roost in. So we're gonna put out the decoys here, and we got set up behind the base off. And Braden is hoping to get his first turkey.
Yeah, we'll see if something comes in tonight. I feel like we gotta get set up. The breeze is coming in. It feels nice cooling us down on this hot day, so yeah, perfect.
Wait a second, I got something to show you. It's the lucky crocodile. My nephew Gunnar swears by the lucky crocodile.
Swears, okay.
He's 6,
Is
he
there a
knows
story?
everything. Oh yeah, he had this in his pocket when he killed his turkey, his first Missouri turkey.
Okay, so maybe I need to put it in my pocket.
Yeah, we'll just sit here.
Okay, perfect.
Between us.
Rub its head. Get some good luck.
It's only weird if it doesn't work.
It's awful quiet. Very calm. We had a gobble behind us a little while ago after I ran this late. And then there was the hen down in here, this little ditch. But that is all. All right, well, we're going to wrap it up for tonight into day 1. We heard a couple gobbles down here just a little bit ago. Way down here we heard some. Other than that, really not much happening here. We're going to pack this up and then we're kind of going to mosey. Hopefully we can kind of hear some more gobbling as they start to get to the roost. Maybe hear them fly up so we have an idea for in the morning. No idea, but day 2 is tomorrow and somebody's going to kill tomorrow. Hopefully it's me. There you go. All right.
A lot of times as you turkey hunt, most of the time the hens end up leaving the toms midday throughout the evening until it's time to go to roost. And trying to find a single tom by himself that we could call, it just seemed like every time we turned around, the tom was just right on the other side of the property line. This segment is brought to you by Redmond.
Day 2 here in Kentucky. We are on Cliff's friend Jeff's farm. It's a couple 100 acres, beautiful piece. This morning we had a lot of rain and a thunderstorm rolled through. Put us a little bit late getting to where we wanted to be, but I think most of that's moved on. Birds have been very quiet because of that. We did have a hen come into our decoys, which was really cool. But other than that, it's been pretty slow. Not a lot of gobbling. We've got Braden on the gun over here, and then Cliff's got a gun as well. But we've got to get Braden on a turkey, so we'll just keep after it. It's gonna happen.
The turkeys, have been here for the last 2 months. It seemed like every day on our cameras. And this morning, they just wasn't vocal at all. We heard a few gobbles way off in the distance and just wasn't very vocal like they have been. So we stuck it out and tried to get on some, but it just wasn't talking. So it's really hard to locate them and try to get on one when they're not talking.
It's about 9:20. It's been dead silent this morning. But we finally had turkey gobble. In fact, we've had 2 gobbles. Kind of just straight out and to our right a little bit here at about 2 o'clock. So Cliff's on the call. Hopefully he can get one to want to come in here.
I ended up sitting behind Braden. He was on the gun this morning, and we just could not get one to commit and come in. And we had a hen just come out of nowhere, kind of first thing this morning.
Yeah, it was exciting for sure this morning when that hen come out. I thought maybe that was just a great sign, but I think the weather had them, you know, just change their pattern a little bit. They might have, you know, been a little bit lower than where we were at. So,
You know, that's turkey hunting, so we're gonna wait on the other guys to get out of the woods. We're gonna get a game plan, get back, get us some lunch, and see if we can't get after something this afternoon. And
we are 3 hunts in basically, and we've got 4 more to go to get this guy on a turkey. So we're gonna do it.
so we didn't have no success that morning. We get back, we get with Steven and Gabe and the rest of the crew. So while we had a little downtime, we needed to go to my farm in Kentucky and do a little video work. There was a new product Artisan was getting ready to launch, and Gabe wanted to go down and do some, you know, some product content for that specific product. And I was like, yeah, let's go down there and knock it out and have a good time while we're waiting to, you know, try to get back after some turkeys. So me and Heather and Jeremy and Gabe, we loaded up and headed down to my farm in Kentucky just to shoot this content while we had a little downtime. None of us prepared to turkey hunt. We was headed to, you know, take some pictures and some video work and stuff. We're up there and we're shooting content and we're taking pictures and we're laughing, having a good time, rode to side by side up to the top of the hill, and all of a sudden we hear turkeys gobble. We all kind of looked at each other like, was that a turkey that just gobbled? So we kind of stopped what we was doing and was like, where did that come from? We gobbled again. Here we are, we're all in pretty much street clothes. None of us has camo on. I think we brought one gun just in case, and I think Jeremy ended up having maybe one mouth call with him. We have one camera. Nobody else has a camera with them. And he gobbled again, and he's literally like within 150 yards. He had to be in the lower field, and we was in the upper field. So we rush out of this shooting house after we was up there just shooting content, throwing chairs around, just, you know, doing just things that we wasn't necessarily there to turkey hunt. We was just doing other things that we needed to get done. So here we go down off the hill, and the turkeys gobble again. They're within 80 yards. So we basically jump into a briar patch. Gabe hands me his camera. I'm a Sony guy. Gabe's a Sony guy. I know Sony's, but when you grab somebody else's camera, you just, how do they have their, you know, their presets, or how do they have their buttons or customization? So I'm sitting there trying to be like, okay, I got it. We're good to go. Jeremy and Gabe's in front of us. Me and Heather are behind him. I'm videoing, and these turkeys just work their way and get within 30 yards. And Gabe absolutely lays the hammer down on him. And I was like, no way this just happened. No way. It was crazy how it happened, but I was like, the man just smoked a turkey. We wasn't even turkey hunting.
I look like a hooligan right now. I smell death on myself. I'm not even wearing camouflage.
So to see him get that excitement, and for it to not actually be a turkey hunt, so to speak, and to see everybody just giving high fives, congratulations, man. It was surreal at the moment, but also I was so grateful that we was able to share that with Gabe and give back, you know, to these guys that have been so good to us over the years.
He was in the open, we're waiting to shoot him, waiting for the other birds, and then they started clucking, and I'm like, now or never, and he's like, shoot him, shoot him, shoot him, and he put his gun down, so I'm like,
Oh, he's got a roll. That's what I saw. I couldn't tell. Just saw a little beard. It's almost 50 yards.
Kentucky, got to look at the snood.
That's fucking awesome.
He's got a lot of color right
Did you
now.
hear him drum? Right
No,
there?
I still don't know if I can hear drums.
He went whoop.
I was so like, did you hear me breathing, dude? We were sitting there like, I was so calm because I'm like, all right, he's gonna shoot. And then he's like, there's 2 of them, and all of a sudden I'm just like.
And for him to be so grateful for that opportunity, and that was just one of those things that you just don't forget.
Well, I didn't want him to catch a reflection
Yeah.
off of my glasses.
This lighting is good too. Wow. That's sharp.
Yeah.
I want to see his funny one.
Yeah, that whole moment was what we all live for in the hunting woods, whether you're chasing turkeys or you're chasing deer, but to experience that with our partners and our friends in camp and having all that excitement and all that just build up and finally being able to celebrate with our friends and our partners was something that just really holds true to us.
We had a heck of a time sharing turkey camp with Gabe, Jeremy, and Braden. We also want to give a special shout out and thank you to our wives. They put in a ton of work to keep us all fed, even when that meant dinner at 10 o'clock. Gabe was able to punch his tag, but unfortunately, he was the only one. The turkeys just didn't want to cooperate with us. Maybe Braden should have tagged one of those jakes, but you just never know how things are going to play out. We decided to make this partner hunt an annual thing, so we can share turkey camp with our great friends and partners. Who knows, maybe Braden will get to punch his tag in the next season. I guess you'll just have to stay tuned to see.
Nobody slept in, nobody was dragging behind.
These turkeys have absolutely.
That's it.